Hello. Well, I decided to uh, have this live chat on Facebook instead of going with StreamYard or Zoom um, because I couldn't see the comments that were being made on Facebook when I was on this StreamYard thing. So I thought, well, it's not worth it, just for having a load of sort of ticker tape type things going across the bottom and looking like semi-professional. um, anyway, I was prompted to decide to do this, um, not by the Lord or the Holy Spirit, although I would hope that they are looking over me the same way as they're looking over you, all of us, but by my guides and helpers uh, who help me, fortunately, to hopefully help you. If I do what they say, it usually works. If I argue with them, that's a different thing again. When I was first developing as a medium, lots of years ago now, I was told that if I argued with spirit or with the spirits, they would leave me. And I didn't know very much in terms of the mechanics of spiritualist mediumship at the time at all, but my rational self told me that that couldn't possibly be true, because the only way we learn things really is by debate, discussion, and perhaps by disagreeing with somebody and listening to their point of view and drawing our own conclusions. So therefore I knew that they were in the wrong, even though they'd been doing it for donkey's years before me and they were supposed to be teaching me. And it turned out that, that of course I could argue with those on the other side of life. And very interesting it was too, the debates that I've had and the teachings that I've received. And it doesn't actually go against anything that anybody else has to say in terms of spiritualism and its mediumship and mediums and so on and so forth. But it has different ramifications, different perspectives. There are different attitudes are portrayed and different points of view. And it sort of tells me that it's okay to have disagreement and to have debate, discussion, argument, even if it's rational and reasoned, in order to further one's own progress, one's own knowledge. So anyway, the fact is that there I was arguing with them today as usual, saying I don't really want to do that, and there are all these lots of people doing all of this, and but anyway, there you go. Here I am, and very happy to see you. And as I said, the reason that I didn't go with this other sort of stuff was because the times I've done it, it's been really aggravating to me because I've not seen everybody's comments from Facebook. And of course, I have lots of Facebook friends, and I was really getting cheesed off about that. And I would have liked to have been able to say hello in real time, like to Margaret, Sylvia and Faye. And the fact is that unless we're sort of absolutely struck down with something, there's nothing to stop us doing spiritual work if we can do that. And it's really a responsibility, I think, on people who have got that ability to reach out to the heavens, if you like, to that spiritual side of our life at times like this, when we're all so bogged down with our physicality, worrying about, have we got a temperature, have I got a cough, am I going to get this virus, have I got it, if I had it, am I all right, I'm not going to get it again, and then with so many people tragically passing from it, we're all touched by it, and this really bogs us down into the physical and material life that we're living. Hello, Susan. I'm trying to be serious here. Well, up to a point anyway. The fact is this, that, we are in serious times, but, I don't watch too much of the news. I watch a little. And, I really don't agree with Mae West, who said too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Too much of a good thing, but not too much of a bad thing. And unfortunately, if we sit and listen to the news for hours, or even 20 minutes worth, you get really depressed. And the point is this, that we're all helpless in the face of this, aren't we? We sit there, we listen to all these facts and figures, we listen to all the statistics. We feel sorry for everybody who's going through. We feel sorry for ourselves. We feel even sorrier for those who are going through the virus, the thing at the moment, and especially sorry for those who have passed over and who've left loved ones behind and things like that. But nevertheless, we've got to, those of us who must, I think, absolutely do all this spiritual work and do this work showing that there is more to life than the physicality of it and the materialistic aspects of it. And to let people know that they are truly spirit themselves, spirit within the physical body, and they are tuned in to the spirit without, which is not necessarily just without a body or without a physical body, but the spirit world, that world of spirit. Don't let's be frightened of that. Don't let's get shunted into a corner over it. We know as spiritualists that there are many dimensions and many planes of existence other than this one, and we shouldn't be too frightened by orthodoxy that starts telling us what they think is to be the truth. Well, we assume they think it's truth. That we know is absolutely not the case, and there isn't just one heaven and one hell. We have to get away from that. And also this other thing, I started off by saying I was prompted to do this. Who prompted me? My guides and helpers, those ones that I told you about that I argue with all the time. I watch some of the evangelistic programs that go out because I identify myself as a Christian by belief in the same way that the followers of Jesus would have identified themselves as followers of the spiritual way, and without all the the creeds and the articles of faith that you have to sign up for. Even I suspect that some people who have signed up for those articles of faith actually don't particularly believe them, and I think that's dreadful. But anyway, that's another thing. The fact is that we know that there are lots of planes of existence. And I think that it becomes everybody who can to prove that and to help to lift people's spirits, literally, to make them realise that they are spirit here and now, that everybody is the same, that there is a spirit world round and about us and that interpenetrates our own, a sort of celestial grid, if you like, in which we all live. And we do live. And we live continuously. We don't, our physical body wears out because that is, it's all woven into it, isn't it? It degenerates and basically disintegrates en route, and then eventually, boom, that's it. And you don't need it anymore, or it's not functionable anymore. And you go on to live in another existence of life where you are able to recognise and be with loved ones who have gone before you, where you meet up with all sorts of wonderful people that perhaps you would have liked to have met. I know there's a few I've got on my list, and all sorts of wonderful aspects of life that us who are spiritualists can actually talk about to people and spread that word. Even if you're not a medium, or even if you're not a psychic, there's lots and lots of people who follow the spiritualist way of life as a movement, as a religious belief, who are not actually mediums or psychics, Some aren't even healers. Now, most people are healers, I know. If they would just but, explore that possibility. So the thing is this, that we really need to support people. It doesn't matter if we think they're a little bit they're a little bit brash, or their clothes aren't exactly what we would like, or to represent spiritualism, but as long as they're spreading the word, let them do it, and more power to them. We should all support that. And I know that there are loads and loads of mediums and psychics out there now putting it all out there. Yes, some of them are trying to cash in on it and say, share my posts and you will come in for, I heard this one, listen to this one, a platinum email reading. Well, if that doesn't make you giggle, I don't know what would. But I mean, fair enough. Somebody wants a platinum email reading and it's free, then, so be it. And I mean, there are people, as I said, that are making quite a few pennies over this. But the fact is that most mediums are mostly skint, or they give away what they get. That's the thing. And, I can say that wholeheartedly. And when I was editor of Psychic News for a few years, I used to have what we called the PN Editor's Christmas Appeal, and that was for elderly and perhaps needy spiritualists. And we used to collect loads of money for that, and then our accountant used to distribute it equally amongst all the lovely people who needed a boost at Christmas. And so I was glad to be able to do that. So, the fact is we all have this urge, don't we, to give everything away. And, a bit like St. Francis, who was, who made a thing about being poor and living in poverty. And eventually he, of course, passed over very young. I'm not surprised, sort of done in by his sort of, very, deliberately poor lifestyle. While doing so much good and pouring out so much spiritual stuff, poems, works, books, everything. And, the fact is this, that he died, I think he was only about 43. Some of his followers after that, what does this remind you of? Some of his followers after that, because, capitalism took over in a big way and, banking interests and so on within the church, within the established church, some of his followers were burned at the stake. That is the truth. So you see, that's not very Christian to me, to burn people at the stake, but we know it all went on. But that was a prime example, if you ask me, of somebody who followed this wonderfully spiritual way, refused all material, aims in their lives, and they started to get burned at the stake for it. So there you are. That's a little bit of a history lesson for you. So at least that's not going to happen today. And the fact is this, that what we decided, I think, me, when I say we, I'm talking about me and the people I argue with a lot, was that really there's no great shakes in being poor for its own sake, that you really need to keep body and soul together while you are down here. So you need to be able to eat and drink and have warmth and shelter. And now we come back to the people who are charging for their spiritual work. And if some of them do that, then that's fine. And then they should hopefully only take what they need and give away the rest. That's my feeling about that. So at the moment, you just have me. And I was talking about being prompted. I was being prompted. And I was talking about the evangelists who talk about being prompted by the Lord or the Holy Spirit. And they not only do they not find that strange to be saying that, but they have absolutely thousands of people packed into their churches listening to it and falling upon every word, which, of course, the words are well laced with biblical allusions. And of course, again, we're cherry-picking our biblical allusions because we must. They are a series of books, scrolls that were put together The Old Testament, as it called, is really a history book, and very gory and brutal. A lot of it is. We're talking about the Bronze Age here. You know, like prehistoric people. You know, very a long time ago. And anyway, so you know, we wouldn't want to follow some of those instructions, would we? You know, it's awful. If you read some of the battle stories that you can read in the Bible, it's absolutely dreadful. And I mean, for a long time, only until the century before last, slave owners were quoting the Bible to actually support the fact that they were slave owners and slave traders. I mean, how dreadful is that? So again, as I say, you know, you get the evangelists who cherry pick, and so they should really, but they do tend to pick out the bits about, you know, hell and damnation, and how we mustn't be mediums or talk to spirits or anything, and a lot of the New Testament, of course, was sorted out 300 years later into the canon of books we know today as the New Testament, by a council of priests who all had something of a vested interest in it, and they sorted it all out, and that's the Bible that we have today as a New Testament. And again, we need to look at what was said in that and what wasn't said. What I like is this: Jesus never told anybody to hate anybody else, which is rather a good thing. So there we are. So, as I say, if you hear the television evangelist saying that the Lord prompted them to do something or other, I would suggest that you take that with a pinch of salt, because really, when you think of all the dreadful things, and you know, the Creator created all and everything, and it's our responsibility to look after this planet. We're told it is our responsibility in the Bible, and you know, so it is, and we can't blame the Lord for all sorts of stuff that you know, and we don't think really that he speaks to any of us directly. I don't think so. So brings me on to his helpers. What we do, we get helped by the Lord's helpers. And what I suggest is that those television evangelists who talk about the Holy Spirit spoke to them, and the Lord spoke to them and prompted them, is to develop their own abilities and to sit in meditation like what we does. And there they would, I'm sure, meet the people who are actually prompting them. You know, and these can be very highly evolved beings, very highly evolved souls who they're actually speaking with. And, you know, that is the truth of it. And we serve the truth, don't we, as spiritualists? So that is the truth. And, you know, of course, there are plenty of meditations going on my channel, of course, on YouTube, if you want to look at those and have a go at them. I've done a few, and of course there's that Iconoclast CD you can download from Spotify and various other things like that. Iconoclast, Lyn Gestiswort Meditations. There's some good ones on there. It's only a few bobs. Now, benign beings is what I would call angels. Highly evolved souls. Angels, so they have little sort of gradations. You get the sort of the amazing, you know, like the angel Michael, Michael, or you know, these sort of really wonderful beings. You know, Raphael, Gabriel, you know, and yes, people do hear from them, and the saints too. You know, I mentioned about St. Francis. Can you imagine? He must be an absolutely angelic being, and all the animals that he loved and that he championed, and must all be there with him, and just absolutely fantastic when you think about that. But so we have all sorts of different kinds of angels. Some angels are actually people that we would have known, who love us, and I have had experience of that myself, fortunately, and I'm sure there are people watching us now who have also had experience of having angelic, I would say interference, but help, and promptings. You know, what's wrong with saying that you're prompted by an angel? You know, nothing at all, just a benign being. So this brings me to the fact that I have said that we all live on, and what we are expected to do, spiritualist mediums, that is, we're expected to prove what we are saying is the truth, that when we pass from here to the next life, that we are actually able to prove that, because some of those who have moved on to that next life are able to come back through mediums and actually relay messages and so on to their loved ones that have been left behind, basically. It's almost like getting a postcard from somebody who's gone off on holiday. It won't be terribly in-depth necessarily. Something like, I don't think they usually say, wish you were here. But I know that they secretly do think that, because I've heard that, but I would never tell anybody that one. You know, wish you were here. No. Because that sets up a chain of thought that can be very damaging to the person receiving it. And we try to avoid those kinds of things. So I'm going to cheat a bit, as I always do, because I would never do anything without them on the other side helping me. There you are, you see. I do nothing, you know, I do nothing without God. I do nothing without the Lord, and I do nothing without my friends and helpers on the other side, my guides. And not that my main person wants to be called a guide. She likes to be called my cooperator in spirit. So be it. So the thing is that I got out a few little angel cards because, you know, mediums do use psychic tools, and again, you know, psychic is only of the psyche, of the soul, really. We talk about psychic as a sort of ESP situation. Psychic stuff, it really emanates from our own spirit, from our that is of course tied into our bodily functions, and it's our gut response and our intuition, our physical intuitions that inform us. And if we practice, we can get quite adept at that. And sometimes it can look as if somebody's psychic is getting information from spirit. Well, they may well be, but there should be a sort of a point, a level at which the medium, the psychic medium, can actually say, well, now I'm not getting psychic stuff here. I'm actually getting stuff from somebody on the other side of life for you. But there, so I think I probably talked enough about that part. I really didn't know what I was going to talk about. I knew that I was angry about this being prompted thing when I heard it, because I think that one should be honest in all things. And that's another reason why I think that when we develop as mediums, we should learn to identify our guides first before we start actually bringing people in, because it's our guides who bring people to us. And I know that when I've been stuck in the old days, I'd be up on the platform there and I'd be thinking, who's coming for that person there then? And my cooperator in spirit would go and get me somebody, and if they were struck dumb, because sometimes they are, those who come to speak to us, can you imagine it? You're in heaven, right? You're doing something that you like doing, whatever it is, it's heavenly. You've got a wonderful job, you've been appointed to looking after animals or children, or you're doing something, and somebody says, excuse me, but you've got your nephew down there in a church, in a spiritualist church, and he wants to hear from you. Just a minute. So they get dragged along and they stand there, and the medium is there, call it me for instance, And like this person is just standing there stumm. And I'm saying, what is he going to say? And so my cooperating spirit would tell me, because when all else failed, I could hear her. And so she would tell me what he was wanting to say, and I would be able to pass that on. So you see, it is very important to get that rapport with your guides and your helpers before you actually enter into this kind of work. So, and dear Judith, I see you're watching, Judith, and you're going to be doing some work this evening, Judith, aren't you? You're going to be online tonight with Alan Acton, the two reverends, my two lovelies, and I hope that you'll check that out. And there's also the Liverpool Christian Spiritualists on tonight, and I'm sure a few others. Now, you've all been sitting there very quietly because I haven't seen any questions. You would be allowed to ask me questions. I should have mentioned that. Never mind. But what I've got clutched in my hand now are a little packet of what they call angel cards, which are a very nice sort of accoutrement for any sort of spiritualist work, really, because the fact that it's called angels tells you that it's only benign, that it's only for good, and everything is only going to be in the light and in truth. And I can see that one of my old skating buddies, very old skating buddies, is watching. And I won't embarrass everybody by naming you all. Now, if somebody would like a message, please sort of say something, because I can't see anybody saying anything other than good afternoon and so on, which is very nice. Oh, from Perth. Oh, Janice. Wow, Australia. You know, I thought that 4 o'clock this afternoon would probably be a reasonable kind of time, because I've got friends in the States and a long way across, and they're 9 hours behind us. You know, that reminds me, when I was out, Keith, you'll know about this. Keith Wright, that is. I was out at the World Championships in Denver, speed skating, short track, world champs. I was the national coach for South Africa, and we had our squad out there. And the British squad, of course, were out there too. And I was walking down the road with them, and Wilf O'Reilly, top man, he went to the Netherlands after and was appointed director there for speed skating. Anyway, I digress. I was walking along and I said, "Look at that! They're all driving on the wrong side of the road." And he went, "Tut, Lyn. You know, I expected more from you." And I just said, "Well, it looked like the wrong side of the road." So, you know, I said 9 hours behind. I suppose in that way you could say that we were 9 hours in front of them, and they were they were right and we're wrong. So, oh, Judith, oh, and oh, you're +7. Oh, right, okay, Janice. Well, I'm going to try and get messages then. Right, we'll start. I'm not shuffling anything. I'm just clutching them. Look, I'm clutching a little wad of these cards in my hand. Look, there they are. That's it. And we'll see what. Right, hold on. Right, let's go. Right, you'll see what I'm doing now. I'm not doing a Madame Arcate, as in Blithe Spirit. I'm not going to make lots of stertorous snoring noises or anything and go, ooh, you know. But I am actually going to link in to them upstairs, you know, to help me along with this, because I never like to do it without. Right, I'm getting this now. I'm getting this for Janice in Oz, right? Right, what have I got? Honesty. Right, Janice. This little angel is the angel of honesty. And this means, to me, is that honesty is very important to you. More than anything, you need honesty in everything you do. Honesty in partners is particularly important. Honesty in any business transactions. And I think because it's such a this is really feels really absolutely solid, that it will not budge, that you've got an absolute feeling of justice, and you want to see the world in a very different way to what it is now. And I suspect very much that you have had at some point a brush with somebody who hasn't been entirely honest. So there you are, Janice. So that's for you. I feel that I ought to link and see if there's anybody over there, but I think it'll probably be quite wise to keep it to this kind of level for this afternoon, because there's lots of people asking questions and so on. So Janice, I hope that that makes sense to you. Oh, right, thank you. Just before I go, I say I've got to give you love from your grandma, and plenty of flowers, she's saying. So there you are. There. So please accept that with my love, and with hers too. I hope that was interesting for you. Margaret, before I just choose one for Judith, could I explain table turning? I saw it in one of your videos, never seen it before, and I've been a working midwife. Oh, Margaret, yes. Table turning was one of the first manifestations of physical mediumship that actually piqued the interest of so many people in America after the advent of modern spiritualism in 1848. That was started by physical manifestations of that hidden world from us. There were loud knocks and bangs in a cottage in Hydesville, and a family that were living there, the sisters, one of them had been sent away actually to get a good night's sleep somewhere else, because they kept getting woken up by these loud bangs and raps in their cottage. Their mum was asleep, their father was away doing some business somewhere as a farmer. And it turned out that the girls were prompted to try and make sense out of these bangs, because now Morse code had just been invented. So they set up a sort of alphabetic Morse code, and they found out that this guy, about his life, the fact that how he died and all the rest of it, and that's how it started. Now, soon after that, the table turning became another way of communicating with spirit in a very objective way. So the table would move according to questions that were asked and things like that. So if you've seen that on one of my videos, that was Kathy doing that one, and that was in front of an Australian film crew actually, who came over in, I think it was 2008. And the woman who is called the mother of British spiritualism, Emma Harding Britton, actually loved that table turning. She was at lots of table turning sessions with the Fox sisters, who were the young women who actually started spiritualism that I mentioned, who were in that cottage. And it's really very fascinating, and I've done it here in circles. Tammy Hutchinson, who is watching, has been in circle with me, one of my circles, and we've actually done it in circle, and I like to do that, and we have had public demonstrations of that, which have been quite good fun as well. There. So Dave Vickers, you'd love a card, right? Coming up, I should really do Judith's first, because otherwise I shall forget. Being old, you know, one forgets things, right? I'm doing a little just move around, and I'm going to not look, you see. I'm going to allow myself to be prompted by my guides. And I get this one out for you. Dave. Right. Willingness. Now, Dave, you have willingness. You have the angel of willingness. So, now, what I'm picking up is that you're really a bit too willing to help people. And I won't say what the outcomes have always been. They haven't always been good for you. but certainly I can see that this angel card is showing me that you're able to forgive people who have perhaps taken advantage of you, being willing to help them. And I'd say also that you have a willingness to learn. That's what that shows me, that you have a willingness to explore spiritualities of different kinds, that you have an open mind. And I see lots of different things for you. I think that what I'd say to you is that you're probably thinking about your diet at the moment. Now, I'm not talking about Slimming World or anything, but I think you're being more careful about what you're eating. Dave, if you can say yes or no, that would be a bonus, wouldn't it? We could all find out then what he's up to. But certainly you have this willingness, and I think you also get taken advantage of. That's what worries me about this. But nevertheless, I think that it's also stretches over into your spiritual exploration, and I think that it will see you well, actually, because, you know, people love a trier, and I'd say that you're always willing to give everything a try, and you try anything once, I think. So good luck with that. Oh, good, you said thank you with 2 kisses. Oh, that's good. Oh, no to diet. Now, I did say not Slimming World, but I think you probably, have you not been, you must have been thinking about your food. You must have been thinking about food, because otherwise I wouldn't have picked it up. Maybe it's actually the opposite of diet then. The opposite of Slimming World. So there you go. Yes to willingness. Okay. Well, that's good, isn't it? So, yeah, all right. I have this very nice chap over here who quickly comes through. When he passed over, he had something wrong. He couldn't eat, and he was in a right old mess. Oh, you're on a seafood diet. Oh, seafood. Yeah, right. Yeah, as I thought. Yeah. Now this chap, he had a good sense of humour too, because he's absolutely roaring with laughter, and he's saying, "I did feel in the right state before I went over, but I'm all right now." And he's doing a sort of like, you know, sort of a little dance. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely, Dave. That we're spot on there, aren't we? I'll take that, as they say. I'll take that one. Not Slimming World. Right. So God bless Dave and this guy here. I think it must be your grandfather. He was quite stocky. So he must have loved his food as well. Yes, you did. All right. He loved his food as well. So there you go. I'll say God bless you. And now, I think I'm supposed to be getting something for Judith. Did I get something for Judith before? Here we are. Judith. Peace. Judith, you have peace. I've drawn this. Oh, and there you are with your angel. Just sitting, resting under a tree. Oh, it's lovely. Judith, I can see it's somebody like you. And this angel is actually wishing you peace. And you've had your ups and downs recently, apparently, which you haven't told me about, but them upstairs are telling me. So, you know, the card is telling me. But there's this lovely angel sort of lying down with you to give you some rest, to give you a cuddle, you know, a spiritual cuddle, because she's saying this is what you need. So you're getting, you know, you pray for peace. So I see you pray for peace, but this lovely angelic person who's with me tells me that she would lie with you and give you a peaceful spiritual cuddle, because that's what you're in need of. And I don't know quite why you're in such need of it at this time, but it's there for you, and they're looking forward very much, just like Israel, lying down under a tree, collapsed under a tree, I think, Judith, wasn't it? I think we more collapsed under trees in Israel where we could find them, because Judith and I went to Israel on an expedition, and we did mediuming there, and lecturing and demonstrating, and Judith got kidnapped and taken into the desert to people's houses where she was feted and given food and drink and hospitality, and it was wonderful, but they couldn't understand why she needed to leave after a week. But yeah, so really, I think also, I would also say, Judith, that there's somebody here telling me that the summer is going to be a good one for you. So you've got to look forward. You've got to look forward. So obviously, at the moment, you've been looking back, or you feel that you're just marking time, but you must look forward to know that things are going to get better for you. There you are. So there you are. Peace to you. Shalom. Shalom. There. Now, who else said they wanted? Oh, Tammy said for Liam. Okay, right, here we go. Ah, acceptance. Look, no lies. Acceptance. That's back to front, of course. Now, for Liam, for you, it's acceptance, and I'm looking at a doorway, and the doorway is welcoming, and your angel is walking with you and with Liam, and we'll walk through this doorway where things are going to be a lot better. That I can see brightness ahead for you, and if you'll only accept this, you know, you have to accept it if you will. I know it's going to be difficult. Sometimes, you know, we don't get easy things, do we? I know that by saying to you that you've got to have this card which says acceptance, it's probably the very worst, hardest thing to actually accept acceptance as your pathway. But there you are. You see, it's going to open doors for you, accepting things as they are and moving forward. So giving lots of love to you and to Liam, and this angel's going to be with him. So if it's possible, I mean, don't freak him out, but if it's possible to say that he's being looked after by, you know, I mean, even if it's Captain Marvel or something, if he's into comics, but give him the feeling that he's being looked after by something more than interfering adults. Okay, so you know, I also feel that he would accept a spiritual helper, that he would have a spiritual helper helping him. So I'll say God bless to you. And I say that green and yellow are very important to you. So that's very sort of earthy, and that represents growth, and some wisdom, and also nature. So there, I'll say God bless you and hope that helps. Right, and for Charlotte, we're doing all right here, aren't we? We're getting through loads and loads of people. And we're getting lots of people from over there, which is nice. I'll say, having this little drop of water. Now, the other thing is that I always tell people, there are two occasions on which water is imbibed in quite large quantities. One is where you see people doing psychic work. Doesn't matter what they tell you they're doing. If they're glugging loads and loads of water, they are doing psychic work because they're depleting their stores of water to deliver this psychic messages to you. And also physical mediumships who do trance, or, you know, bashing around with tables, things like that from spirit. They will also need some water, at least at the end of their stint, because again, spirit use that, apparently they use water, our water, to do the work. They mix it with some kind of substance from over there, that we know not what, in order to produce what we call ectoplasm, which is the substance that actually moves objects around. It extrudes from the medium's body and actually, lifts tables and does things and bangs things and stuff like that, and chucks trumpets around the room and stuff like that. If you don't believe me, try and find a seance near you. They're not out of fashion. I think they're quite hard to find now. And Kathy and I used to do a couple of bits of that, and I know Judith. And Colin Fry used to as well, bless him. It's fascinating because it's an objective way of seeing how spirit work. It doesn't tell you that Uncle Bill's all right, but it does tell you that there is another life after this one, and that there are people in that world of spirit who can actually manifest various activities in this life. And that, of course, is where you get all these sort of superstitious things from. I would say that we are not superstitious. We don't talk about supernatural. We talk about all natural things, because the fact is, it's all a fact of life. Life after this life is a fact of life. It's not something that you have to work at or do anything to achieve. You get to be born here, and then you pass over, you shuffle off this old, whatever it is that you've got to walk about here in, if you can walk or whatever. You have to live here in this body, and then your spirit is freed up and moves on back, we would say, to the world of spirit, which is where you came from in the first place, and enjoy a life to come. So right, so I see that I also have a good skating friend as well from Finland. So welcome to our little chat, and if anybody's missed any of it and wonders what on earth is going on, I know that even with these live chats you can actually see them again, so sort of catch up on all the preamble and what was said before. Oh right, okay, thanks Janice. Yeah, I'll have a look. I'll look it up. Now, what I have here for the next person, I don't know who the next person is. You see, it's them upstairs again. Somebody here has got gratitude. Who was it that said they wanted a message? Somebody must have wanted a message because I've been given one. So I'll just carry on then. So somebody here who is watching has got the angel of gratitude, and there's been a lot to be thankful for. Oh, Janice, would you like this message for you? What I picked was, I'll get another one as well, so you get two, right? You get two. Right, gratitude is what I chose, because I was prompted. Remember that one from before when I was chatting on about who is prompting who. And I get a lot of gratitude coming to you. Now, I get this from people who know you, who over there on the other side of life, she says, graciously thumbing over there, you see. And you did a great deal for somebody who was not well and eventually passed over. So there's gratitude there coming from that person. I'm not seeing who it is yet. I also get that you have a knack of being grateful to people who you shouldn't be. Now, I get that from over there as well. Now, it's nice to be grateful, but there are some people it's sort of wasted on, that's what I'm told. And so you've rather fallen foul at odd times in your life, where you've been a bit too grateful to people when they should have just done what they should have done it anyway. if you know what I mean. But there are people who are thankful to you, as I mentioned, and there's a lady, it is actually over here, who's saying that she has gratitude to you, and sending love. And what I'm looking at here is also that you like, you do like nice clothes, apparently, and this lady over here also liked nice clothes, you know, nice things. So I think that you probably, apparently you waste money sometimes on nice things, but it's worth it because it makes you feel better. So I'm told. There you are. It's nothing to do with me. Do not argue with me. It's this angel. And I would say that, I see. And I think that you're also grateful that just to be alive. I think that you're grateful every morning. Yes, but don't but them. Okay. Right, and then remember I said to you I was going to pick another one for you, and it's freedom. So there you are, and this freedom is really, you could really do with some of that. Well, we all could at the moment, couldn't we? Well, cheap is good. Now, in fact, second-hand is good, really. Recycled, I should say, pre-loved. Now, your freedom is very important to you, yes. But your freedom is important to you, and I see you by a seashore, and perhaps with sunshine and the enjoyment that comes from knowing that you're actually free. So I suspect that there have been times in your life when you have not been free, and that's also linked, of course, to the gratitude. Although you've said yes because you're alive, I also think it's because you're free as well. You have your freedom, because that's been made very important to you. So I'll leave you with the love of this lady over here, and swirling round a lovely sort of, looks like a sort of thin cotton skirt thing. Don't live these days. I'm not sure what you mean, but I would say that you need to think about the freedom that you have, and I think that it would be nice if you look forward. You would look forward. So before you actually got there, we got there. You look forward to a sunnier time in your life, and also that what I will say is that those of us who try and lift spirits will actually, whether people believe in it or not, I do, pray for your upliftment and your healing, so that at least, Janice, you will get a decent night's sleep and a restful night, because them over there are telling me you could do with that, and definite upliftment. And as you are, I'll write down your name, because you must be a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'll message you. Janice, with two N's, Ram, see. Okay, Janice, I'll message you afterwards, okay? Okay, you're a medium too. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So again, I was prompted to write your name down and give you a message afterwards, to message you, okay? I will message you, and we'll be friends, okay? So that's good. So I'll say God bless, and I'll be in touch with you, of course, straight away. And bless you too. We'll have a little chat. We'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Now, would anybody else like a message from an angel card, and them upstairs too? I noticed that they've sort of crept in, haven't they? We have had that. We've had people from over there, And, you know, like I said, you know, I don't do anything without them. So now the last one then, the last, I mean, Suzanne. Okay, Suzanne. Oh, that's good. Now, Suzanne Symes, right, and Faye, right. I've got to try and write down because you see what happens is your names go off the screen. Faye and Suzanne. Right, I got you two. Right, and Pat Wilson. Right, that'll have to do because I shall get absolutely exhausted and I can't be doing with that. Of course, as we know, I have to have a rest. Now, poor old thing. Now then, where was I going to be? With Suzanne, right? Thank you. They are so good at reminding me, I tell you. Right, what have we got for you, Suzanne? Right. Strength. Suzanne, you have needed all your strength. You have prided yourself really on being strong, I would think. You have that inner strength, but it's been a bit, perhaps, you know, a little bit difficult to find, what with all the recent things going on. And I feel also, Suzanne, that you may also have had some extra difficulties to cope with, which they're not telling me about, but they're just saying that. So obviously it's not for sort of, you know, it's not for public consumption. But I would say that, you know, the strength that you've had in the past, you need to draw on now, you know, more than ever to keep yourself going and sort of basically, you know, keep your chin above water and see the far shore because, you know, it has been a bit of a go of it for you. And what I also see is this beautiful person. And I think this is you. It's you that is this beautiful person, Suzanne. And you've got to keep remembering that. And somebody over here telling me that you're sort of losing heart about how you are as a person and how you look and stuff like that is getting to you for some reason. And they're trying to give you that strength, okay? So, all right. Not to frighten you, but it's mostly when you're asleep, when you're in bed asleep, that they can actually get through and give you some of that strength. And now we've sort of connected you up like this, basically with your angels. You know, you will get some strength being given to you while you sleep. So you should wake up more refreshed than you have done. And I think your sleep pattern hasn't been very good for you. You know, I'm getting sort of like 5 in the morning. It's not a very good time. So, you know, basically, oh, and also I want to give you also a blue colour, which of course is healing, as you know. And this angel is all in blue robes, beautiful, with light around her head and everything, and giving all this healing to you. So you should be feeling better. There. And the next one I wanted to pick up for you, Suzanne, is play. And I think you've got to remember that, you know, you did play once upon a time. You're quite happy, and you've got to try and remember those times and know that you will have happy times again. And certainly there's 2 people here, so I will give that to you. It almost sounds like a sort of prediction type thing, doesn't it? But anyway, so you've got you have got an affinity with another person down here, and to play, to have some fun with them. So I hope that if you haven't got somebody like that now, that you will have somebody soon there. So, oh, that sounds like a prediction. Well, anyway, we shall see, won't we, Suzanne? So I'll say God bless you, and I hope that was uplifting for you. Right, now I wrote down, that's a good job that I did. So, Faye. I'm not having that one, as I said. I'm not having, oh, there one. I'm picking up the ones that I've already used. What an idiot. Now I've got to pick them up properly. and do a little sort of, you know, wiggle with them. Oh, I've got loads. Oh, you know, I'm not used to doing this. I don't like to tell you this, but I rarely do anything with cards of any sort. It's just that I thought this would be rather nice to lift the old spirits today, and because I can do it, I knew I'd be able to do it because they would help me. I agreed with them that I would do it. So that's why we're getting in a bit of a what's the name here? Right, okay. I'm going to pick for Faye 2 cards, right? Oh, right. I have commitment, Faye. Well, you know that you have commitment, but I think that this is something that hasn't always been on the cards, and that perhaps you would like people to be more committed to you. And I'm not coming between a man and his wife, or a wife and her man, but I think perhaps, you know, there've been maybe I think that probably the 2 of you have got problems over commitments. That's what I pick up, that there maybe have been the odd argument over that. And we're not talking about the childish stuff. We're talking about, you know, things about families and stuff like that where it can cause problems. What I do get for you is being able to study more, Faye. I get a commitment to study, a commitment to more spiritual stuff, and that you need to perhaps get more confidence in order to commit yourself to various things. And I think your spiritual side is very strong, and that you should be able to trust yourself more. There, I think you should have a commitment to yourself, Faye. Okay, so a commitment to yourself. Your other card that I picked up for you is authenticity. So there you are. You see, you are an authentic person in your own right. And you have a lot of love that you give out, and fortunately you're in a situation where that is appreciated. There you are, and you are an authentic one-off person, and you deserve the very best. And I'm being told this by a chap over here who came bustling in, sort of standing there, you know, like, what's going on? So it was a bit of a what's it in his time down here. But he says, yeah, you are a one-off. So also I see some, I don't know, this is sort of like a wardrobe show or anything, but I see you getting something new to wear. John cannot bill me for this afterwards, by the way, but I can see you getting something new to wear. And I know that he's saying you don't need anything new to wear because we're not going anywhere. But, you know, you will be going. You will be going. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at them because, like, and there's this bloke here who's sort of nudging away, going, yeah, that's right, you tell him. So I suspect that this is one of John's dear relatives here. And he feels like an in-law to me, to you. So there you go. So I'll leave you with the love of them over there. And, of course, your own helpers and guides and everybody. And love to John. There. So that's yours. That was yours, Faye. And then Pat, you have vision and sisterhood and brotherhood. Now, Pat, I don't know where you've gone, so it's a good job that I wrote down your name. So what I have got here is vision. That came up first. And it isn't just about needing new glasses, although that may be on the cards. You may need another eye test. But certainly you have a good vision. You know about people. When you see people, you can tell straight away if they're nice or nasty. And sometimes this has caused a bit of an argument between you and other people because you're saying, "Oh, I don't like them," you know, and the person that's with you is saying, well, I can't see why not, you know. So I think that could have, your clear vision could have caused some problems for you. But you've got to stay with it, because your vision is good. You have good vision, and also you have good visualization. So I'm sure that if you have meditations and those kinds of spiritual experiences, that Karen Moulton, what have you missed? I'm not going back over it all. I refuse. And I'm just in the midst of doing something for Pat Wilson. That's good you've come back on. And you can run it back. You can see it all again. Anyway, Karen. But anyway, so here I am, Pat, on your vision, and that you have clear vision. Right, now, the other card I picked out for you, Pat, was sisterhood, brotherhood. So I think you're very well balanced. I think that you see all human beings as human beings, that you don't separate them up into men and women, boys and girls. I think that you see the human race as it is, and that you don't have any prejudices about anything. I do think that you are quite fussy about who you actually want to mix with, but it doesn't mean that you don't love the human race as a whole. Also, you like colours. I get that you get colours. Faye, you get, and thank you can take what you were saying. All right. Now, it's very important as well. I think that sisterhood and brotherhood is also very close to your heart. So I suspect that it means that your family means a great deal to you, and that you would want to be close, have a close family relationship, and perhaps that hasn't always been possible. That's what I would say. That's what I'm getting from over there. And I wanted to say also that I also get a love of nature for you, and that you are very keen on the idea of saving the planet, and you are sometimes almost despairing of what's going on, and you know, that the plight of the animals in this world as well seems to affect you very much. Oh, Pat, you're there. Yes, that's good. So I think also that I need to say to you at this time that you really need to know that everything that you are feeling, and the prayers that you put out, the little askings that you do, that's how I'm told, all right, is all being heard and all being listened and acted upon. And there have been people who have felt much better after you've sent out your thoughts for them. There you are, Pat. So that's what I'm told from them over there. And that your own guides and helpers are very proud of you there. So I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm hoping that you do. So I'll leave that with you. So you have sisterhood and brotherhood, which is very important. The whole human race, the planet, animals, nature, and the vision that you have. Which sometimes will get you into trouble because you can see a bit too clearly, can't you? Sometimes there. So I'll say God bless. There. So I think that's probably everybody. I hope that you enjoyed our little chat and our little delve into the angel cards. And you know what they do say is that you should not read cards anyway for yourself, that you shouldn't look in a crystal ball for yourself or do anything for yourself. But over the years, looking back, I think that, you know, as long as one doesn't have too high an expectation, that you can actually, you know, ask a little for yourself. And not to be frightened. I think the main thing is that we live our life being frightened of a spirit. We get frightened of talking about the spirit world, we start talking about heaven, and the Lord's Prayer, which is translated as "Our Father who art in heaven," really, the heavenly realms are not a million miles away from us. What we do know is that heaven, if you like, is all around us, in the spiritual way, and it has many different levels. And of course, there's the highest, where the Almighty could be found, and you see, I make a circle, because really it's like we're enclosed in that spirit world. We're all living in it here and now, and if you're interested in the science of it, the cleverer we get as a race of people here on this planet, the more we understand about the spirit world and spiritual matters, and we realise that it's all perfectly natural and normal. And don't let people frighten you and start, threatening you with hell and damnation, because this is not the case. We are all God's children, and if you accept that, then you have to accept that if we are a parent's children, then that parent wants only the best for us and will do only the best for us, and that all other things are extra to that and aberrations. And we know that there are evil forces at work, and there always have been, right from the first Big Bang. And oh, cool. But no, the fact is this, that there are nasty things, as we know, because some human beings seem to be imbued with some kind of nastiness, and try as we might, we don't seem to be able to shift that. But good will triumph in the end, and light will vanquish the darkness. So you don't have to be frightened, as long as you know that you're doing everything for good, that you trust in the light, and you try and do good things for other people, and have good thoughts, then there's no reason for you to be frightened of anything. So don't let people put you off and start quoting from Deuteronomy and telling you that all witches are wicked and stuff like that. I mean, you really got to say, yes, well, if you look in the Bible, you see lots of things that people do that apparently they shouldn't. Like, they shouldn't wear clothes of mixed threads. So you could always challenge them with that. When they start telling you about how terrible spiritualism is, and that you can't possibly be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or anything if you're a spiritualist, you say to them, well, look in your book and see what you do wrong before you tell me what you think I'm doing wrong, because there's always something. As I said, I love the one about mixed threads, because just have a look. I think there's over 300 prohibitions, and there's also some admonitions as well. But I think really, if you check out the Ten Commandments, that's pretty takes it all into consideration. And of course, Jesus himself said there was only 2 commandments as far as he was concerned. One was the first one, the first line, in fact, really, of what is called the Shema in Hebrew, which is the one that God gave to Moses, which is to say, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The Lord our God is King of the universe forever. And the second one is to love one another. And that's what we call the golden rule. Because if you love each other, then that takes care of everything, doesn't it? That's everything. Because if you love somebody and I'm talking about spiritual love, unconditional love, then, you know, that puts an end to all the hatreds and everything, doesn't it, with one foul swoop. So that is why I say that I follow Jesus, because I think that those 2 commandments that he gave are absolutely blinding. And also all the stuff that he talked about and his followers did as well. It's all pure spiritualism. It's pure spiritualism. And if you talk about Pentecost, that's amazing. And I love it at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. They have all the various aspects of Pentecost. They had it all written round the side of the church, which is lovely. And of course also Pentecostal stained glass panel over the platform as well. Just wonderful. So anyway, can you ask how do the 7 principles of the SNU differ at all with the Christian Spiritualists? We accept all the 7 principles of the SNU, Tim, but we also re-add in the liberty of interpretation. We allow people to have their liberty of interpretation, which of course was taken out by the SNU in 1978, but only because they were advised to do it by their legal squad, because of the legality of it, because it is part of their constitution, their articles and objects of incorporation, their company, you see. So I reinstated that, and also we say we follow the example and teachings of Jesus, who we accept as our Lord and Saviour. And that is only the affirmation, that last thing about Jesus, is the one thing that the Christian, the fellowship, the church's fellowship, used to say that was the only thing you had to accept if you wanted to be a part of their church's fellowship. For psychic and spiritual studies. So I thought that was quite a good thing to actually add in. And in fact, Wimbledon Spiritualist Church always says at the end of their accepting the leadership, an example of Jesus Christ. So basically that's it really. It's just so really we don't differ at all. Only in as much as we accept that so many people have other religions, all the various denominations of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, all the various major main religions of the world have leaders, founders of their religion, and the SNU says that spiritualists cannot follow a religious leader. So I found that to be a little bit at odds, shall I say, with what I felt about things and what I thought about things. So it took me a long time to come to the conclusion, but there you are. So I believe that everybody should be able to worship in the way they want, not to be excluded from being a spiritualist as well, and particularly for us, for our group, which is growing and growing, we first of all called ourselves the New Spiritualist Society, and then we decided to put the Christian in because we were all Christian. We all agreed it. We thought, yes, well, we're all Christian, so that's it then. We'll put that in as well, so people will feel comfortable about it. And that's all. So there we are, Tim. I hope that's sort of helped a little bit towards explaining that. And it's just nice to be in touch with you as well. Tim's a very old friend, and we go back many years. In fact, I'm so old now, I go back many years with everybody. Oh, you're so welcome, Tim. I mean, you know, it's just wonderful to be in touch like this on here. Now, I guess I'm going to have to go and get myself a cup of tea and possibly a banana sandwich to get my strength back up. And thank you all so much for being with me this afternoon. don't forget there are all these different services and so on and broadcasts going on all around the internet. And if you've missed any of this and you fancy seeing it, then of course you start at the beginning. And I do have that YouTube channel that's got loads and loads of videos on, shorter than this one, meditations and chats about stuff and all sorts of things. And of course there's also banding on it as well, and various skating stuff, because that's my other love. So just check out Lyn Gibb-de on YouTube. And enjoy my banana sarnie. Yeah, right. Well, you see, I have to try and support my bones because I'm losing bone density because I'm taking these anti-cancer pills every day, and they affect one's bones and muscles and stuff, but bones mostly. And so this banana, I take a banana religiously every day, hoping that, you know, my bones won't crumble that much before I've had use of them, if you know what I mean. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you. And as I was saying, there's also a website that I've done, www.lynguestdeswalt.com, because of course that was my name before it was Gibb-de when I got married to Kathy, and we double-barreled her name to mine, because Guest was my previous married name. lynguestdeswalt.com, and there's loads of stuff on that, and www.newchristianspiritualistsociety.com. There's loads of stuff on there, loads of explanations about what it is about, and lots of different articles and features and stuff. And I hope that, and don't forget the Spiritualist handbook, which I wrote, that's on Amazon. And that tells you a load of stuff as well. So I'm a great one about spreading the education and the knowledge as much as I can. Oh, John's doing a service later. Oh, right. Thank you. And yes, I must go now. So adieu. I shall see you again, please God, with the help of God. Be'ezrat Hashem, as Jesus would have said, Yeshua. And God bless you. God bless you. Bye for now.